Alright, we are returning to the Pokémon Colosseum grind here in the Realgam Tower finale. Last time we tried some Ultra Ball shots at Shadow Metagross and did not get it. But we are at the level where we can take meaningful shots at it. We took the experience, ended up losing the Ultra Balls, as well as 2 Hyper Potions. We're gonna be limited on how many shots, essentially, we can take in this game. But let's go back up and go from there. Ultra Balls being 1200 G, I mean, we burned 7200 G plus. We burned 9600 G on Ultra Balls and Hyper Potions last time, which was a lot. In the meantime, we'll keep getting experience and hopefully we get the RNG, the luck, really, to get through and catch one of them. That's the main thing left here that is a hindrance for Nascour. As we come in, Nascour greets us again. What kept you, Yo-Yo? I worried that perhaps Gonzap had beaten you. The time has come for you to pay off some debts. We'll have you battle as payment toward the huge losses you inflicted on us. I expect to see spectacular battling out of you after all. You're here to entertain. Wahahaha! And then we got bodybuilder Jomas coming out again. A big crowd like this, it is a little intimidating. I don't want to be embarrassed here, so battle to win. We're bringing increasingly strong teams into the fight. Every time we're coming back one level higher. Level 48 Exploud and level 45 Zangoose out for Jomas. Both normal type Pokemon. Jomas is a pretty easy matchup at this point with our level 58 Espeon, level 54 Suicune. Use Psychic on Exploud, we'll use Surf on both. Exploud goes down in a single hit, and that's going to give us 945 EXP for each of our non-Shadow Pokemon. Suicune is closing in on level 55. Porygon 2 is out. The Synchronize, facing the pressure. Suicune Surf is going to knock out Porygon 2 as well as Zangoose a bit on health. Zangoose with the 70 power slash. Critical hit is actually pretty damaging here with double damage on Espeon. But let's use Psychic on Porygon 2. Let's use Surf on both. That should leave Zangoose left as the last remaining Pokemon. Porygon 2, beating that gives us 867 EXP for non-Shadow Pokemon. Suicune is going to pull off a Surf move here. Zangoose actually does get fully knocked out, so Zangoose is down. Our Espeon is in a weaker position expected on health, but we'll just have to figure out later. Espeon gained 795 EXP, so did Suicune as the non-Shadow Pokemon in, and now we've beaten Jomas. He says, what? That wasn't supposed to happen. It gives you 1,152 G for winning. Delan says, my turn next. Peon and Suicune in. Again, we're going to have to do a flip here. With the Dark types in play, we're going to move Espeon out. Mighty Ina has Intimidate to cut attack from the get-go as an ability. Espeon's gonna have to swap out. We'll swap it out with Houndoom as we'll take the hit there, and then we'll usurp on both. Usurp, and I was thinking about Rain Dance, but let's go ahead and just usurp. Move. Alright, Houndoom takes the hit on the entry. We'll use Shadow Rush on Mighty Ina, because that's going to knock Mighty Ina down below half, and then Surf should knock it out. Sneasel with the Brick Break in. Brick Break is super effective. Does knock out Houndoom in one go. That's the crazy thing about Sneasel having a fighting type move. Let's put in Umbreon now. Level 50, getting very close to level 51. Umbreon and Suicune should go up a level heading into the next battle. Surf, critical hit on Sneasel. Sneasel falls. Level 48 Sneasel. Mighty Ina is close to falling, but by beating the Sneasel, 451 EXP. For each non-Shadow Pokemon, Suicune goes up to level 55. Umbreon also picks that up to level 51. That experience got split 3 ways. Level 47 Sharpedo in now for Delan, the last Pokemon. Mighty Ina with a takedown takes down Umbreon by 20 health. Alright, Umbreon's gonna use Confuse Ray on Sharpedo. We'll use Surf on both. $420 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for beating Mighty Ina. That's split 3 ways. Alright, we're going to use Bite on Sharpedo, and then we're going to use on Sharpedo, and we'll just whittle it down a bit. $880 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for taking down Sharpedo. Delan says, I'd heard about you, but you are much more than I expected. 480 G for winning. These 6s look like 8s in the font. They're very weird. We've got Nella coming out now. Must be Yo-Yo. I've been looking forward to meeting you. Don't you think it's a great honor to battle on this fabulous stage? I'm going to beat you and earn my promotion to an admin. Nella takes out the fire types. Torkoal and Machamp go in play. Let's use Sidekick on Torkoal. Oh, actually this is tough because we want to heal as well. Let's go ahead and use Morning Sun with Espeon. We gotta heal that with Espeon. We'll use Surf from Suicune on both Torkoal and Machamp go. Espeon just needs a heal so it doesn't get knocked out in the next round. Suicune picks up Surf here. Gonna do a lot of damage to both Machamp and Torkoal. Super effective against Torkoal, knocks it down to red on health. Machamp is fully knocked out, level 46 Machamp. It's gonna give us 759 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Iron Tail coming from Torkoal, misses. We're going to go ahead and use Psychic on the level 48 Ninetales that came in. Surf on both Torkoal and Ninetales. This should wipe out Nella's Pokemon. EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for beating Ninetales. Torkoal goes down, 810 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. We've got a level 59 Espeon. 10 EXP also for our other Pokemon in, which is Suicune. Cipher, Peon, Nella has been defeated. And it's no good, I might be fired. 1,920 G for winning. Ston, I'm the last battler. I'll show you exactly why I was chosen to anchor our squad. Here we go, Espeon. Okay. So again, we're gonna want to not pull Suicune out of the battle so it doesn't get destroyed. We're gonna use Sidekick from Espeon on Sceptile. We're gonna do a switch out here to Raikou to take the hit. Actually, we're gonna switch Entei to take the hit from Leaf Blade. $127 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Thank you for taking out the Sceptile. Sludge Bomb, incredibly impossible poison chance. It was not poison, cool. Espeon is going to have the Psychic super effective advantage on Vileplume, so let's use that on the level 48 Vileplume. And then we're going to use Bite on Radily from Entei. EXP EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for taking out Loveland. Entei Fight is going to take a little piece of Cradily, not a lot, but does some damage. Ancient Power from Cradily, a rock-type move that's going to do a lot of damage to Entei. Knocks it down to 33 HP. Okay, now we've got Cacturn, a dark-type Pokemon, and Grass, and then still got Cradily, the Grass, and Rock-type Pokemon. Let's go ahead and use Return on Cacturn. We gotta chip away a little bit on it. We'll also use Bite on Cradily with Entei. Entei out, now we bring in Umbreon. Alright, we weaken Cacturn a little bit because Cacturn is going to be the more annoying Pokemon. We'll use Return on Cacturn, we'll use Ray on Cradily. Just because of the Dark, the Psychic advantage, we want to knock Cacturn out sooner. Cacturn is knocked out. $928 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Psychic on Cradily, we're going to use Bite now on Cradily after the Confuse Ray. $688 EXP for each Pokemon, knocking out Cradily with the well, it's a three-way experience. We have beaten Cipher, Peon, Ston. Ston says, this power is beyond unreal. 1960 G for winning. Back to facing Nascour. We've battled Nascour a few times already, but we've not been able to catch up the difficult Shadow Pokemon here. Let's see if we fare any better. Nascour says, bravo, bravo, well done. Why not become a Cipher Show Battle Trainer? Would you even consider it? I'll vouch that you'll become a top star in no time. I wouldn't mind making that proposition, but I'm afraid I'm not that big-hearted. I will destroy you in battle right now. You'll know the humiliation of total domination before this crowd. This is a difficult battle and an even more difficult challenge. Cipher Nascour in terms of catching the Shadow Pokemon. Gardevoir in, Xatu in. Gardevoir is a level 55 Psychic type Pokemon only in this generation. Xatu is also a Psychic type Pokemon, which has an annoying move, Confuse Ray. It's also a flying type Pokemon. So, the challenge here is Gardevoir has Thunderbolt, which could really put Suicune in a bad spot. So we need to switch Pokemon. So what we're going to do is we're going to start Psychic. Actually, we're going to use Return I'm trying to knock Zatu at first. The confusion is going to be very annoying. More annoying than any other move. In the meantime, we're expecting an electric move from a Thunderbolt from Gardevoir, so we're going to switch to Raikou to absorb the hit. Next special out early for Zatu and for Gardevoir. Very interesting. Suicune returns. We're putting in Raikou. Raikou actually may have gotten a free switch in there. Espeon with the return move on Zatu. Takes it down about halfway. We need to take that Pokemon out. We're going to use Return. We're going to use Shadow Rush from Raikou as well. We need to knock the Zatu out. It is almost completely out. It is not out. It's going to unleash a Confuse Ray first. It is used on Raikou. We're good with that. Better on Raikou than Espeon. That's a good trade-off. Raikou takes a bit of a hit. That's okay. Gardevoir with the Psychic move. Going to do quick damage out of Raikou, but that gives us a free switch in for Umbreon. So that's cool. Umbreon and Dark type will be super effective against both Pokemon coming in. That's great. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Return to knock out Zatu. We're going to use Confuse Ray on Gardevoir. Again, we are just trying to prevent Zatu from hitting again, and Espeon goes first ahead of Zatu. Zatu is out, level 54 Zatu, which is going to give us some experience, 658 experience for each of our 3 Pokemon that were non-Shadow that we're in. Blaziken out in play, level 54. Gardevoir uses Thunderbolt on Espeon, does a sizable amount of damage. Umbreon uses Confuse Ray. It's going to get Gardevoir. This will buy us hopefully a little bit of time, maybe. In the meantime, we will use Morning Sun on Espeon. We got to heal. We'll use Confuse Ray on Blaziken just to buy us a little moment here. Actually, I might have even benefited from using Light on Gardevoir because it's a one-hit Psychic on Blaziken anyway. But taking Gardevoir out would have... Oh yeah, Blaziken Sky Uppercut got out already. Not great. So this move probably should have been a Bite on Gardevoir. That would have been a better move. Yeah, it's alright. So we're going to use Espeon Psychic on Blaziken. We are going to use Bite on Gardevoir. Didn't plan that out quite well, I hope. Blaziken is going to get KO'd on this turn anyway, so Confuse Ray was kind of wasted. 1,209 EXP for each of our non-Shadow Pokemon in Espeon and Umbreon. Walrein is going to be a bit of a challenge here, so we will want to go at it. Gardevoir uses Thunderbolt again on Umbreon. Almost knocks it out completely. I'm expecting it to get knocked out in a moment. Got paralyzed off of that hit. But Synchronize forced Gardevoir to also get paralyzed, which we're pretty good with. Wow, critical hit is very effective against Gardevoir. So that's nice at least. Psychic we'll use on Walrein. If we can get a Confuse Ray off of Umbreon on Walrein, that would be nice. But let's see. Psychic does pretty well against Walrein. Knocks it most of the way down. Walrein is likely going to go for the kill here. And does take out Umbreon with 1 HP left. We still have Suicune in play here. Let's actually put Suicune in now, because Suicune is not now as threatened against Gardevoir, which is very much weakened. Oh, Thunderbolt does come off, though. That's not great. The Suicune actually got wrecked on that shot. And paralyzed. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. Okay, we're going to use Psychic to finish off Walrein, Surf on both. That is really unfortunate that a confusion-based attack landed anyway. Walrein is out, level 58. 1,152 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon in. Dusclops is now in level 55. a Ghost-type Pokemon. Suicune with the Surf move does get it off despite the paralysis. Does fortunately knock Gardevoir out at level 55 because it could have launched another Thunderbolt. Surf also does a decent amount of damage on Dusclops, 1,225 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. I say decent because that should be enough on a Psychic move to get Dusclops out. And then now we have Rui's Shadow Pokemon spotting skills centered on Metagross. So we're going to use Psychic on Dusclops, we're going to use Surf on both Pokemon. Espeon Psychic should now be able to just take Dusclops out in one go, because it already was weakened. $1,054 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Beating that. Metagross, now we gotta knock down Metagross's health to even take a shot at it, but again, we're gonna have the same issue. We only have 8 Ultra Balls. For when each Ultra Ball only really has a shot of, I mean, there's not a great shot every time, right? So here it gets really interesting in terms of what we play as moves. Let's use Return from Espeon. That's not going to be very strong against Metagross. And then we'll use Ultra Ball. Return against a Steel type isn't going to do much damage, so that'll hopefully get it a little closer. But meanwhile, we got to throw Ultra Balls at Metagross now that it is in the yellow bar range, and just hope for the best, because every shot is only 2% of chance. Actually got closer than I expected on that throw. Espeon's Return should knock it down a little bit without actually doing that much damage to it. That will be our way to chip away damage at Metagross without doing too much damage. Metagross is starting to use Shadow Rush as a move though, and with Shadow Rush, it's actually just going to naturally knock its own health down. We'll still use Return on Espeon to knock down slightly more. In the meantime, on Suicune's turn, throw Ultra Balls. These are expensive throws, but we gotta catch Metagross. To be a completionist, we don't need to catch Metagross, but this is our only shot at getting one. Second catch is no good. Espeon's gonna keep using chip damage on Return just to knock it down to a better spot to catch. Metagross is, of course, still going to use Shadow Rush to knock its own health down a little further. At this point, we just keep throwing balls at it, hope for the best. Espeon is done trying to heal. Again, if we get knocked out, we get knocked out. Because if we get knocked out, we still have another shot at catching the Shadow Metagross. But now, at this point, let's throw a third Ultra Ball at it. Alright, Espeon is down, which we were okay with. Let's now put in Entei. I am kind of afraid we are still going to end up losing here. Like, we might still knock out Metagross inadvertently by virtue of having it knocked down to half health. Here's going to be our 4th attempt. No good. This is getting, frankly, a little annoying with the Shadow Catch abilities. Entei took a lot of damage on the Shadow Rush, or actually it was a Psychic move. Again, Entei not going to attack. Suicune going to keep throwing balls. We are down to... this is going to be down to 3 balls left. This is our 5th attempt. Still no good. Metagross using Psychic, I would prefer that over Shadow Ball, so if we get knocked out, we come back and give another shot and keep our experience points. Entei is down as well. We're gonna put in our last Pokemon, which is Houndoom, level 48. This is just brutal. Houndoom's gonna call again. Suicune's turn. We're gonna go and use our 6th Ultra Ball attempt. Ultra Cam, still not good. Ooh, Metagross is getting down there. Again, not attacking. Gonna go for another Ultra Ball. We're down to our last one if we don't catch it on this one. Our 7th attempt basically boosts our chance of trying to catch it to 14% through this entire match. Still no good. We're just using calls on our Pokemon. Metagross's Shadow Rush is a little concerning here, potentially. Did that knock out Metagross? It did not knock out Metagross. We have one last chance. 8th Ultra Ball. Metagross uses Psychic. Suicune is somehow still alive. That is crazy. All right, we're down to, I know we have a Master Ball. We're not going to use a Master Ball on this Pokemon. We're going to use a Great Ball and hope for the best. At least we will keep the experience. Alright, another raw deal here. We have completely got Ultra Balls after that attempt. It's a weird strategy to let yourself get knocked out. Wait, I'm quite wrong. We intentionally took the KO to not knock out Metagross, but it got very, very close. We preserve the EXP. We wanted to make sure we kept the EXP. All the way back out. Oops, the wrong way. Go down. Alright, well, let's go buy 2 Ultra Balls. We are completely broke. So we are in a struggle where we don't have enough money to catch Shadow Pokemon right now. This game is brutal on resources. So, all that money we made over the course of the game, we wiped out in like 2 hours in this game. We'll still save. We'll save the experience. It is a tough loss, though. So we are now at 2030. Alright, let's go back in. Let's get more experience. All that stuff. We might as well get more experience. This grind is brutal. Nascour, I mean, whatever, let's keep going. This is basically like Nintendo hard. It's ridiculous. Let's keep going. Same thing, Psychic and Surf. $945 EXP for each Shadow Pokemon. against Exploud. This is Nintendo hard in terms of catch rates. When it takes normally 50 Ultra Balls potentially to catch a, okay, 795 XP for each non-Shadow Pokemon on the Zangoose. Keep using Sidekick and Surf. $867 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Espeon is now level 60. Suicune is now level 56, based on the same vote. What? That wasn't supposed to happen. 1,152 G for winning. Barely pays for one Ultra Ball. This is Nintendo hard. Like, level 46 Mighty Enoch. In the 1980s and the NES games were considered like there were some very hard games, very limited lives or continues, long stretches between checkpoints or saves, punishing enemy placement, strict resource management, having to replay large sections after failure, demanding, precision. I mean, this is Nintendo hard. Okay, we're gonna use Sidekick. Actually, no, we're gonna switch out Espeon. Because it's Dark types, so we gotta do the switch again. We'll put in Houndoom to take the hit. Like, Pokemon Colosseum as a game is generally not labeled a Nintendo hard game, but this sequence, the ending sequence, is clearly Nintendo hard. It's a long gauntlet, you have no resources, you have to just keep repeating it, and progress is gated by RNG. You just keep getting punished for failing. It's like, it's so grindy. Alright, Houndoom is in, takes the hit. We're gonna use Shadow Rush on Sneasel. Meanwhile, we will use Surf on both. This is just a sharp difficulty spike. This is extremely difficult. 420 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for that, and then 451 for the other for taking out both of those Pokemon. Level 47 Sharpedo in the way. Shadow Rush on Sharpedo, Surf on Sharpedo as well. EXP. Rider Delan has been beaten. I've heard all about you, but you're much more than expected. We get 480 G for winning. This reminds me of Persona 3 FES, which is the answer. Difficulty spikes. It was really repetitive. Tough encounters, heavy grinding. Persona 3 FES is what gives me the endurance to keep pushing through this. Having played through that, it was like you would just go through and grind a dungeon multiple times. You would just get wiped out, wiped out, wiped out, wiped out. And eventually you got enough experience that you could just keep moving forward. Nella says, you must be Yo-Yo. I've been looking forward to meeting you. Don't you think it's a great honor to battle on this fabulous stage? I'm going to beat you and earn my promotion to an admin. Sidekick, again, we have Torkoal and Machamp on the other side. We'll use Sidekick on Torkoal, from Espeon, Surf on both. Should wipe those out. EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for taking out that. And Machamp goes the other Pokemon in. Still, Surf is gonna go after Ninetales and Machamp at the same time. Level 48 level 48 Ninetales has been weakened. Level 46 Machamp gets hit and KO'd in one go. 759 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Beating Machamp, Psychic, and Surf should knock out Ninetales. $915 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Cipher Peon Nella says, it's no good, I might be fired. 1,920 G for winning. Hey, that's worth 1.5 Ultra Balls. Says, I'm the last battler. I'll show you exactly why I was chosen to anchor our squad. We're going to use Sidekick on Sceptile. From Espeon again, we'll swap out Suicune and Raikou to take the hit. $27 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. We're taking out Sceptile. Level 48 Vileplume is in. It's a bit of a draining part of the game to try to push through. It's less strategic, more just grind. Endurance. Level 40 Raikou is in, but gets poison on the hit from Cradily. We're going to use Espeon Psychic on Vileplume to knock it out in one go. We'll use Shadow Rush on Cradily from hit for a recoil. Cradily still going at it with Sludge Bomb. Sidekick. Okay, so Cacturne, Cradily, we're going to use Return on Cacturne because we've got enough out Cacturne so it doesn't do more damage to Espeon, because it's also a Dark type Pokemon, not just Grass. Shadow Rush also on Cacturne. This is likely the hardest finale stretch in the Pokemon main series. Umbreon. Yeah, let's pull in Umbreon for this fight now. Down 2 Pokemon on the other side. Let's use Return on Espeon to just knock out Cacturne and we'll get it out of the way. And then Umbreon, we'll use Confuse Ray on Cradily. $928 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for taking that out. Return on Cradily. Now that we have it confused, we'll use Bite on Cradily. Let's try to knock it out. Espeon, let's do a heal the Morning Sun and just go ahead and heal our Espeon, and then we'll use Bite on Cradily to wrap it up. Let's go wrap it up. Sidekick, Bite. Let's take down Cradily. $688 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. That's in. Beaten Ston. This power, it's beyond unreal. Ston gives 1,960 G for winning. Nascour says, bravo, bravo, well done. Why not become a Cipher Show battle trainer? Would you even consider it? I'll vouch that you will become a top star in no time. I wouldn't have minded making that proposition, but I'm afraid I'm not that big-hearted. I will destroy you in battle right now. You will know the humiliation of total domination before this crowd. I think the challenge for me is doing the rematches. The money losses just kept compounding. Because I would lose half my money every time I lost. And after so many losses, I just ran out of money. So I think if I thought that through a bit more, I should have spent all that money before jumping into this trainer gauntlet on Ultra Balls. If I had just spent all that, if I was good, then you wouldn't lose all that money in a wipeout. Espeon, Psychic on Dusclops, or that should be our plan here. Ironically, the game sort of like rewards you for being poor. Like if I were to replay this section, I would have just spent all my money on Ultra Balls before this trainer gauntlet. So if you lose, who cares? Because you have no money you're losing. Okay, so Espeon Psychic on Dusclops. We will use we will do the switch out with Suicune as we have. It's gonna be an electric move, so we'll put in Raikou to take the hit. Espeon Psychic is gonna do a lot of damage to Dusclops, almost knocks it out. Alright, Confusion in play. Okay, we're gonna use Espeon Psychic to knock Dusclops out completely. We'll use Shadow Rush on Gardevoir from Raikou. Espeon's Confusion does get past. $702 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for taking out Dusclops. Raikou is taking hits, is out and about. We now put Umbreon in. Espeon, we're going to use Psychic on Walrein. We're going to use Confuse Ray on Gardevoir. Espeon did hurt itself in its confusion. Attract is used on Espeon. Okay, we'll try Psychic again on Walrein. Again, we will, well, now we'll switch gears and use Confuse Ray on Walrein. X Special on both. Espeon is in love with Wall Rain, so we can't even attack it easily, but it does get past. Psychic does connect on Wall Rain this time. Umbreon's Confuse Ray is in. So both are now confused. We can now focus on attacking. Psychic. Let's use Return on Gardevoir. Let's use Bite on Gardevoir. We just gotta knock that thing out. Espeon continues to do damage to itself. Gardevoir, after the Bite attack, weakens Gardevoir quite a bit. Both are now fairly weakened. Espeon, let's use Morning Sun and actually try to heal half of Espeon's health. Meanwhile, we'll use Bite on Wall Rain and try to knock that out. Espeon's no longer confused, but is immobilized by Love and cannot use an attack, so that's a double whammy. Destiny Bond, Gardevoir's trying to take its fate with it. Except we're not attacking it. Wall Rain's the one we're attacking. Wall Rain pulls off and Ice Beam. Umbreon uses Bite. Okay, and then we gotta try to do Morning Sun again with Espeon. We gotta heal it. And then let's use Bite on Wall Rain. Hopefully you knock that out. Oh, Nascour uses Hyper Potion on Gardevoir. Espeon is still in love with Wall Rain. Immobilized again. Oh, geez. Wall Rain does knock itself out in confusion. $1,152 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon, which are Espeon and Umbreon. Blaziken is now in, which is, in a sense, kind of unfortunate because I need to go and heal my Pokemon here. Espeon, but I don't know that I'm going to have a chance to really do that in this situation. Blaziken is going to go for a shot on Umbreon. We got to knock it. We got to just hope for the best here. Espeon Psychic on Blaziken. In the meantime, we are going to use Bite on Umbreon on Gardevoir. Espeon just has to KO Blaziken before Blaziken can do damage to Umbreon. So, one-hit KO there. 1,209 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Umbreon is now level 52. Tries to learn the move Moonlight. Let's take a look. We've got Confuse Ray, Bite, Feint, Attack, Taunt, and Moonlight. Moonlight restores HP. I think we have to replace... Okay, that's interesting. So, we do have a Feint, Attack, Stab move, which... Let's go ahead and replace Taunt with Moonlight. Moonlight is a healing move, which restores HP, and we could definitely use that right now. Umbreon now has Moonlight in. Xatu is now in for Nascour. Gardevoir takes some confusion. Fortunate because Gardevoir, that gives our Espeon a chance to heal. Espeon Morning Sun. We're going to use Confuse Ray with Umbreon on Xatu. I think the other move we can try using is Feint Attack. Alright, Espeon, let's keep using Morning Sun. We got to keep healing it. We will use Bite on Xatu, because we need to start confusing it as well. I mean, avoid getting confused from Xatu's attacks. Gardevoir snapped out of its confusion, uses Thunderbolt. Oh, Espeon's paralyzed. That is problematic, but it also does paralyze Gardevoir, so because of Synchronize, so it moves plays. Ooh, Bite did a nice round of damage to Xatu there. Let's keep using Morning Sun with Espeon to keep it in the game. We can use Bite on Xatu, try to knock it out. $988 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon. Espeon is now level 61. That Metagross is in again. We have like no Ultra Balls. We have 2 Ultra Balls. But the good thing is, we have no money to lose at this point, right? Half money is not that much money. We lose and don't get a chance. Okay, we are gonna use Return on Gardevoir. Let's use Bite on Metagross, which is the Psychic and Steel-type Pokemon. We're gonna have to knock down Metagross quite a bit in health, and then just hope for the best. Alright, let's use Shadow Rush and Bite on Gardevoir. $816 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon for taking out Gardevoir. Okay, let's call Houndoom. Let's use... I don't even know anymore. Let's just toss a Pokeball in it and hope for the best. We're not even at a point where I feel like using an Ultra Ball because it's too high on health, but let's at least try something. Houndoom KO'd again. We are going to risk another wipeout to try to catch this ridiculous Pokemon. Entei is going to go next. Fire Blast is actually gonna probably even do damage to Metagross, so we can't really do that. We'll use Call with Entei, and we'll keep throwing balls with Umbreon. Okay, we can use Entei Bite, I suppose, and then on the Umbreon turn, throw another Pokeball. Pokeballs have like what, a 0.5% chance of catching? Suicune in. This is the grindiest Pokemon battle I have ever played in. Let's see, the games came out in 1999. I guess technically 98, but I played them in 99. In 27 years. It's like legendary couches can be very grindy, no doubt about that, but this seems like exceptionally grindy. Okay, Suicune we can't actually do anything with either. We can't attack with anything. We just gotta keep throwing balls and hope it doesn't knock itself out. I am just doing math at this point. If I throw like 8 Pokeballs at it, and I throw a few Premier Balls at it, and if I throw a few Great Balls at it, that actually has a better chance than just throwing Ultra Balls now. Let's keep throwing Pokeballs. Okay, it's down to at least the... This would be the time to try Ultra Ball, so let's try it, I guess. It's down to red HP. We are the grindiest game. Metagross could still knock itself out after all that. Hell, we can try a Timer Ball. Do I use a Timer Ball here? Someone use a Premier Ball. Right, I think that's a stopping point. Clearly, we're not going to get it. All right, we're... It seems like there might actually be a way to try to catch these again. Well, it seems that there might still be a chance of catching Shadow Metagross afterwards. Okay, so apparently we can actually come back and catch these later. So 1,125 EXP for each non-shadow Pokemon. We'll just keep going, I guess. We've beaten Cipher Nascour, who says, no, that can't be happening. 5,600 G for winning. Nascour says, God, it's not over. Come on, we shall battle. Enough. Don't embarrass yourself, Nascour. Nascour, sir, I beg your pardon. Rui, what's going on? Nascour's apologizing? Isn't he supposed to be the boss? Okay, in my mind, that certainly was a battle worth seeing. SK, I must be honest with you. I never imagined that you would get this far. Really, huh, Mr. Mayor? Why are you here? SK, oh dear me. Do you fail to understand still? You're such an innocent child. At times, I'm the affable mayor of Fnac, and at others, I'm the secret boss of the criminal syndicate Cipher. I'm Evice, and I shall rule the world. How dare you meddle in our affairs so thoroughly, the Shadow Pokemon plan? We can resurrect from the start, but you two, you'll never be forgiven. I'll destroy you utterly so you may never again rise against me. Cipher Head Evice would like to battle. Level 60 Salamence in play, level 60 Sizer in play. But apparently, it seems like a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize right away, that if you miss a Shadow Pokemon in this game, after you beat the game, you still have a chance of catching it again. So this situation makes this a lot wilder now. We have a level 61 Espeon, level 56 Suicune, and a level 52 Umbreon in play. Are those my levels? Alright, we are going to use... Okay, Salamence is a Dragon-type Pokemon. Dragon and Flying-type Pokemon. It is especially weak against Ice-type moves, which we're going to use in a moment. And then we've got Sizer as a Pokemon choice. Sizer is a Bug and Steel-type Pokemon. So... Espeon, let's go ahead and use Psychic on... We'll use it on Salamence as well, because Aurora Beam from Suicune, probably not going to take it all in one go, but let's try to double Beam Salamence. $1,401 EXP for each non-shadow Pokemon to catch. So we did take out Salamence there. Next up is Machamp, a level 61 Pokemon. Psychic is going to be very effective against it. Let's use it. Let's also use Surf against Pokemon from Suicune. $1,260 EXP for each non-Shadow Pokemon taking out Machamp. Slowking is out in play. Machamp was a fighting type. Slowking is a water and psychic type Pokemon. Peon does get wiped out fairly quickly here. We need to put in Umbreon. Like, the fact that there is a rematch mechanic in this game for Shadow Pokemon, the game never makes sense. And that's crazy, because you could spend your time just trying to catch that Shadow Metagross, and nothing happens, right? So Confuse Ray, we've got to put Confuse Ray on Slowking, slow it down a little bit. We'll still use Surf on both. Well, yes, we'll use Surf on both Pokemon. So you can see Surf is a perfect X attack in for Slowking and whatnot. Got wrecked there. It'll be challenging. All right, Shadow Rush on Sizer. Surf, yes, on both. Clearly effective against Slowking, but we do a bit more damage. Shadow Rush is on, knocking Sizer down quite a bit. Silver Wind from Sizer. Devastating. We're good. This does so much damage. Count move is down. Suicune is really our main Pokemon that still has a lot left to retain. Use Raikou. Raikou, Shadow Rush on Sizer. Let's use. I guess we keep using Surf on both. Full Restore from Sizer on Sizer. That's challenging. Okay, we can try to use Fire Blast on Sizer, we can get it off. I don't know. We'll use Surf on both. Full Restores in play. did take out Sizer. Suicune gets 1,285 points, experience points. One non-Shadow Pokemon in. Next up is Slaking, level 60. Normal type Pokemon. We are definitely in a difficult spot here. Let's still use Fire Blast. Vente on Slaking. Let's keep using Surf and just chip away. Earthquake from Slaking knocks out Slowking. That's a decent amount. I mean, there's some damage on Suicune, but still 2,143 EXP for the one Pokemon left, which was Suicune. This gets interesting. T-Tar in play. Tyranitar, Shadow Tyranitar. The only Pokemon left though, so this is going to be challenging. We will use Surf on both the Rock and Dark type Tyranitar and Slaking, because it hits both. Slaking is loafing around Suicune with the Surf. All amount of damage in terms of super effective moves. Tyranitar with the Thunder, that's probably going to knock Suicune out here. Nope. Actually did not fully knock out Suicune. Sandstorm rages. Slaking buffeted by the Sandstorm. Suicune. Let's try to use a Hyper Potion. Let's see if we can pull through here. Suicune's paralyzed. Are using Shadow Rush. Might knock out Suicune. Alright, we'll keep the EXP. Alright, we'll save here, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow. We are now at 21, 23. We'll see what happens.